Welcome to Story Connections, where we discuss books and all the wonderful, exciting, frightening, and fascinating tales they present, and how all these things pertain to our lives. Now, here are your hosts, Kathryn, Townsend, and Rebecca Guthrie.
So, the first book that we're going to talk about is The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert... I just forgot his last name, and it's not up on my screen.
Well, it really doesn't matter because it's really by J.K. Rowling.
Right. It was written by J.K. Rowling.
Which is the thing that I think is interesting about this book, right? Because the Harry Potter books are this phenomenon. And I forgot to turn off my phone.
Yep. So anyways, I will continue where she's going. So the book was written... So J.K. Rowling wrote an adult novel that I forgot the name of the title, that didn't do very well. It wasn't very well written. It was actually kind of really boring after the Harry Potter books. And it sold because it was a J.K. Rowling book, but then people started reviewing it and going, yeah, no. So she wrote another book called The Cuckoo's Calling under a pseudonym. And
I don't know if her thought was, well, maybe I'm a great writer and I can, make a fortune as somebody else.
I'm not sure.
But it's an okay book. I wasn't sorry that I read it, but it's not a fantastic book, right?
No.
And
it desperately needed an editor because it was 500 pages long.
It did. And so the way that I read this book was I read about the first 150 pages, and then I skipped to the end to see what happened and whether or not I wanted to finish reading the book.
Right, which I think is a very interesting, I wonder, and actually if you want to call in and tell us if you did that, the number 790-2040, how many people read mystery novels like that? Because I will admit that mystery novels that don't catch my attention, I figure out who the main characters are, and then I skip to the end and figure out what happened, and then I decide if I want to go read back and watch the...
Right.
I've never done that.
Well,
I've never done that with a mystery novel.
Okay.
Well, I guess you have a great deal of character.
No, actually, that's going a bit far. No, if it doesn't strike me in the first 100 pages, it goes away. I don't even bother to find out what happened.
Oh, see, I couldn't leave it hanging like that. If I read a book that I'm like, okay, particularly mystery novels, I'm like, okay, I need to know who died so I have closure, or not I know who died, but who killed them so I have closure, and then I will put the book away.
Yeah, but if the book is garbage, why bother?
Because you want to know.
Right.
Yeah. But if it's garbage, why bother? I mean, that's a waste of time.
Well, I guess it's, different how different people read, because I would never be able to leave.
Because it takes 5 minutes to find in the end where it tells you what happened.
And see, that's 5 minutes that you could be looking for another book.
That's true.
There is some truth to that.
Except that I don't have a problem with looking for another book because I have stacks of books that people have said, you should read this. Anyway, so I wasn't sorry that I read it, and I did go back and finish it, right? But I wanted to know, okay,
who do I not care about, and who do I need to care about?
Exactly. And it was too long.
It was too long.
But I felt like the writing, just like I thought that the writing changed throughout the Harry Potter books, I thought the earlier Harry Potter books were much better than the later Harry Potter books.
I agree.
I feel like the writing in this book was much closer to the later Harry Potter books than the early Harry Potter books, which I guess makes sense because if her evolution as an author has been to devolve, of course they're not going to be.
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily been that her evolution as an author has been to devolve as much as she was making her publisher an absurd amount of money, and people would read the books whether, it was 300 pages or I think the last one checked in at like 700 and some pages. It didn't matter because the readers were still going to read it. But I think that it's really interesting that as Robert Galbraith, which I looked up, it wasn't selling very well. And then I've heard different stories about how her name got out there as, oh, she actually wrote this. And once everybody knew that it was a J.K. Rowling novel, everyone picked it up. And, Amazon's got 6,883 reviews and 4 stars. Well, I don't think that it's 4-star worthy, but a lot of people clearly did because...
Right, I think I would have given it 3 stars.
Yeah, I would have given it 3 stars, but that's an average, so...
Yeah, it's an average book.